Alright everyone, if you're on this video you most likely don't get the performance you want in ARK Survival Ascended, or maybe you are still considering buying this game but not sure if you can actually run it. And I'm gonna tell you a couple settings you can change to affect the performance without actually affecting how the game looks, and hopefully this can help. Let's go into the settings. Unfortunately, it is in German. There currently is no option to change that to English, not in-game, and also not on Steam. Usually you can do that on Steam, but it's not there right now. Hopefully they're gonna patch that in. So let's go to settings, video, and the setting names are all in English, but the setting values are in German. When you spawn in, you most likely are on the medium settings. And the only setting there I changed is the max frame rate. This is capped on 60 FPS usually. All of these settings don't make much of a difference, at least from what I tested so far. What does make a difference without actually affecting the greater looks of the game are the advanced graphics, the global illumination quality, and the effects quality. So right now, with a 4080 and a Ryzen 9 7950X, I only get like 50 FPS, 54 FPS on the high settings. Again, I don't think the high settings is recommended to use. I would just set it to medium if you can run it. If not, low. It still looks better than ARK 1. But just for this showcase, I'm gonna leave it on high. So let's go ahead, change advanced graphics to low, then effects quality to low. I'm gonna leave global illumination quality for now, because this does make a actual difference in the game's overall looks. Continue, and with just these settings turned down, we get from the 50 FPS more so to a 60 FPS without changing pretty much anything, or at least personally I don't see a difference between effects quality and advanced graphics on low compared to high. So personally I do leave that on low. And the next setting is the global illumination quality. This is standard on Epic. I believe even if you use the medium setting, it still sets this to Epic. If we go to low here, save, go back, we now get like 70, 75 FPS. So this gives you a bigger increase in FPS, but also the quality drops. You can see that especially on these rocks here. But again, we're getting like 100 FPS now because I directly stare at this rock. But you can see that looks worse. Although I'm gonna say it still looks great. So you definitely can sacrifice this these graphics for the performance if you do need it. I'm going to actually change that back to Epic. The other two are unnecessary to leave on anything other than low, in my opinion. So go save that. And now the next settings, I'm going to talk about why I can't change the resolution scale here in a bit. But the next settings are under the RTX tab. And if you do have a NVIDIA card that supports this, NVIDIA DLSS will always be turned on no matter what preset you use. Even if you use the low preset, if you use the Epic preset, doesn't matter, you will always get the DLSS turned on by default, frame generation off, and super resolution to balanced. Now, what you can do is enable the frame generation, which I highly recommend. This will give you the most FPS without sacrificing performance. So without sacrificing graphics. So let's go save that, go back, continue, and immediately we now get 100 FPS just by changing this. So from about 60 FPS, again I turned the quality back on. So this was where we only turned down the effects and the advanced graphics with about 60 FPS. And now we are almost doubling this. If we go back into settings, we also can change the super resolution here to ultra performance. This will also give us a couple FPS more, but right now this setting is bugged and I'm gonna show you in a bit why. You can see now we get 120 FPS, 25. So again, pretty decent increase in performance. But with ultra performance, I feel like you can see a bit too much of a difference. If you need it, obviously use this. It still looks great, but especially if you look at some things like the leaves, especially if they're a little bit further away, you can see that they don't look as great, or the clouds, you can clearly see it on the clouds, but obviously you're not gonna be running around like this, to be honest, so it shouldn't bother you too much. And again, use the performance over the graphics, in my opinion, or value performance over graphics, more so like this. This pteranodon just dropped a poop there. So I'm gonna go back to these settings, and now is where the problem is with the ultra performance. If I go to RTX again, you can see there's nothing selected here. It's not even it doesn't even say off. It just is turned to nothing, basically. So if I go to video, and I'm gonna change the global illumination quality to low. Again, previously this gave us a 10 to 15 FPS increase. Let's go save that. Go back, continue, and now we drop FPS. Before we had 120, 125 FPS, now we're at 95 FPS. So it's still playable, of course, and again, depending on where I look, I do get more FPS. But in general, if I just look here, where we previously got 125 FPS, I only get like 90, 95. And that is because it will simply not use super resolution and straight up use the resolution scale slider here. So you, no matter what you change, you will have to go in here and use or click on ultra performance. Save that, go back. Now we get 145 FPS again, because I also have the quality settings turned down, which I haven't had previously. This is stupid, especially since if I go into settings now and I just want to change the audio, and I go to save, go back, we lose FPS. We change the audio and we lose FPS. This is really stupid, but I'm just assuming it is just bugged right now. Now, if you have it on balance, it doesn't do that, and personally I do think balance is enough for me, so I'm gonna leave it on that. Which I also get 120 FPS here if I have the quality turned down, which is enough for me. But yeah, this is a pretty stupid bug. Now, there is one thing to note. If you go into the settings, if you don't have an NVIDIA card, you can manually change the resolution. So if you use super resolution, this is locked, you can't actually change it. But you can turn that off here. Go to save, and then under the video tab you can change it. However, this is also bugged. I'm sorry to tell this already, but this does not do anything. If I change it, it should do something, right? I can change it to something ridiculous like 5, go to save, then go back. You saw it already turned it back on, continue, and you see I do get more FPS than previously. But I don't get the insane FPS like 140 that I should get with these low resolution settings. And that is because it will actually change this back to auto. No matter what you set it, if you have it on off and then change this to anything, it will always go back and change it to auto, so you cannot actually manually change this with an NVIDIA card. What you can do, however, is use the previous bug with the ultra performance. So go to ultra performance, go to save, then go back, continue. Now again, you do have the bad quality here, but the more FPS. Then go back to settings, and again we have nothing selected under super resolution due to the bug with the ultra performance, and now we can actually change this to like 18, save, go back, and now we actually get this performance, which we should get. Now the game looks awful, of course, but we do get the actual performance. It does automatically set it back to 25, but now we can change it. This is really stupid, but it works. So yeah, if you have an NVIDIA card that is a little bit older, you can't use DLSS super resolution, then this should not bother you. Or if you have an AMD card, you should also be able to change this here. But basically, this does affect your performance a lot, but also the graphics a lot. I hope this has helped at least a little bit. Let me actually go ahead and change this back. Graphics presets, medium, then this low and this low. Leave this on epic. Frame generation on, balance. This my settings. Save this. Go back. Continue. Now, again, I hope this has helped, and I do hope that they're gonna optimize the game a bit more, also fix all the bugs that we currently have with the settings. But other than that, bye.